Hello knockouts, TonyaTko here, and I'm going to try to make this video really quickly because we're losing the light. I'm making the video outside and the sun is going down. I just got back inside the house, and so I wanted to first wish you all a happy new year. Today's message, I was inspired. I don't know if it was sent to me by my higher self, the universe, or whatever. I really don't know. But I was, for those of you who are on my Facebook page and especially on my Instagram, because I vlog the whole story on my Instagram of what happened to me today. And so I wanted to, I don't know, as I was on my way back from today's misadventure, I was inspired with this message about suffering and appreciating those things that we labor really hard for, and how I think that that's a dysfunctional point of view, and I think that's a dysfunctional stance that's instilled into us early in life. And I wanted to, oh, the moon is up. Let me see if I can get the moon behind me. No, I can't. So listen. Okay. So I was I was craving some grapes today, so I decided to start walking. I decided to go because there was like a fruit stand a block up, but when I walked it, I didn't find it a block up. I went 2 or 3 more blocks, and then I got to a fruit stand. There was, I think that was the one I originally saw, but there were no grapes there. And so I was asking people along the way where was a store that I could find these grapes, right? Or at least a fruit stand where that would most likely have grapes. Okay, so and you know, and I'm in a neighborhood where the people are mostly Latino, Hispanic, from South America, Mexico, and Central America. Okay, so I'm walking, and I'm asking people along the way, where can I find a fruit stand? Where can I find the fruit market? And people are giving me all of these different directions. The most common place people told me was a little ways up. So I'm walking, and finally, after about 3 miles, it was unbelievable. I walked so far that I could have gotten to the big supermarket that I typically go to, but I wanted to just go to a little local fruit stand so I could grab some grapes and come back and eat them, because last night was New Year's Eve. I spent a lot of time out. I'm tired. I wanted to just rest. Okay. So about 3 miles into, no, at this point it was 2 miles into the walk. So 2 miles later, I get to this gran mercado de fruta. Okay. So I get inside there, and the fruit is like, the grapes are 99 cents a pound, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. And if you want to listen, go to my Instagram page if you want to see the whole journey. So I'm like, the fruit is 99 cents a pound. The grapes are 99 cents a pound. So I was like, yes. And then I opened up the bags, and the grapes were rotten. They were smashed. They were spoiled. It was like a bunch of stems with no grapes on it inside the bag. It was horrid and awful. So I mean, that was a little bit of a letdown after a 2-mile walk. So then I was like, okay, so might as well walk to the grocery store. You know, I'm so close, except it's in the opposite direction. Okay, so I walked to the grocery store. Here we go. 3 miles in now. So I get to the grocery store after 3 miles. And I walk into the grocery store, and there are oranges where the grapes used to be. All right. So I'm like, I don't know what to, I felt like giving up. I was like, well, you know, I mean, I thought it was funny in a way, like, you know, that wry laugh that you get when you're just like, wow, I just really can't believe this. So I was just like, you know, whatever, you know, it's like I've walked 3 miles, might as well turn around. I asked the clerk, you know, what's up with the grapes. He was like, oh, you know, we had 52 cases in, but they all sold out yesterday. And he tells me to try another grocery store up the block. So at this point, I'm like, okay, another thing, when I was at the grocery store, they had like 3 bags of cherries. And I was like, you know, the only thing I love more than grapes are cherries. So I was like, yes. And then so I like bit into a cherry, and the cherry was spoiled inside, and I was like, gosh. So so that's when I spoke to the clerk, and the clerk was like, well, you could try the a grocery store up the block. And a part of me is wondering, okay, well, are there no grocery stores along the way? Because there were little fruit stands that I passed by along the way, but none of them had grapes. And so I'm like, is this no longer grape season? I really didn't know what was going on, because certain fruits are, because you all know when it's lime season, because the limes are like 8 for $1, and then after that the limes are like 25 cents each. So then I'm like, no one has any grapes. I don't know what's going on. Should I just give up? So then the guy is like, well, there's a grocery store up the block. You can try that place. And I'm like, well, I've already walked 3 miles. What's a little more? And then after that, I would just turn around. So I get to the grocery store. I get to the next grocery store up the block. And guess what? They have grapes. They have stacks upon stacks of grapes, red grapes and green grapes, and I was like, wow, okay, so they had grapes. And so I decided to buy 2 bags of grapes, and because another thing is I didn't have my car with me. So I was like, I didn't want to go to the grocery store because I didn't have my car. I didn't have any grocery bags with me. I didn't even have my wallet. I just had, I just brought like $9 in cash with me, because I was like, okay, I shouldn't need more than $9 worth of grapes up the block. So I found an extra $5 in my pocket, but that meant that I only had $14 on me altogether. So I was like, I didn't want to go to the grocery store because not only did I not have any bags with me to carry the groceries, but I didn't have money. I didn't have my credit cards. I didn't have my car to drive back groceries with. So I was like, ugh. So then I get to the last store, and the last store has grapes, and I'm like, yay. Because at this point I had already checked out, like, with this whole grape endeavor, because I had like a craving for grapes. Just wanted to go get some quick grapes and come back. So then nonetheless, so I see the grapes and I'm like, yay, grapes. So then I go to buy the grapes and I say to myself, wow, and this is what this video is about. I say to myself, wow, these grapes should be even better because I had to go through so much to get the grapes. And that's the dysfunction that I'm talking about, because, and this is where the video idea came from, because it clicked in my mind and I'm like, these grapes are not going to taste better because I went through so much to get them. I'm like, the grapes are going to taste like the grapes would have tasted had I not gone through that. And I started thinking about my self-worth, and it's like, I know my self-worth, and I know that I deserve to have the grapes without a fight. I deserve to have the grapes easily and naturally. I deserve for the grapes to come to me. I don't feel that the only way that I could have extreme appreciation for the grapes is if I had to go through all of these trials and tribulations, walking 3.5 miles in the hot sun and no bag and tired already from a long night and all of this, and with not even enough money to buy myself some water along the way and get grapes. So I was like, you know what? And I was like, let me make this video when I come back. I wasn't planning on making a video. Can you even see me? Okay, yes, you can. So I wasn't planning on making a video until this idea, it clicked for me, because I started thinking about the dysfunction that's taught to us really early on, where we are, and this is how we become addicted to suffering, because the only time that we truly appreciate something is when we had to go through tremendous hardships and tremendous suffering for it. And I'm like, why not just eliminate the suffering and just be in gratitude? And I'm going to say this, I think a lot of religions pummel this into our minds as well. And our parents, they start saying, oh, the only way that you're going to appreciate this is if I make you suffer or make you work hard for it, that's the only way that you'll appreciate it. And it's like, I don't know, this is a quick tangent I wasn't even going to talk about, but if you think about it, children get a toy and they break the toy, not because they don't appreciate it, because that's the nature of children. So it's like, sometimes we punish our children. Like, I remember I did that video about with Tiara and the Play-Doh, and how I kept the Play-Doh hidden from her for years. And it was like, then I found the Play-Doh, but at that time she was 11 years old, and I was like, what is she going to do with Play-Doh now? It's like all these years I kept the Play-Doh hidden in the closet until it was dried up and no more good. And it's like, but that's a different story. But I take from that whatever you can. But I wanted to talk with you and ask you a question. I want you to ask yourself, are you living in gratitude? Are you allowing yourself to know that you are worth great things without suffering? And it's like, because you know what, and I used to be that way too, but after my near-death experience in 2007, I gave up all of the things that stressed me out, and my life has been so abundant and so juicy and so plentiful ever since. And it's like, so I wonder how many of us out there are addicted to the suffering, because it's like we have all of these things around us. It's like we have the air that we can breathe. We have the sunlight, and all of these things are free. We have the beauty of the moon. And it made me wonder, and this is why I decided to do this video, because it made me wonder, how many things do we have in our lives that come easily and plentifully, and because they're plentiful and because they're easy, we don't appreciate them. So I started to ponder, and I wanted to ask you, are you appreciating the things in your life that come easy? Because we're programmed into this addiction to suffering, and this addiction to drama, and this addiction to wanting things to be hard. And I think that we make our lives harder by not drawing our attention of gratitude and our attention of appreciation to the things that have come to us, that we drew to us that we magnetized into our lives with our God essence and our glory and our abundant nature. And it's like, if you think about it, we weren't put here for suffering. And so I wanted you to just think, are you making, because you know what, the universe will answer what it is that you ask for. Remember that poem I used to recite? I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. No matter how I begged and scraped when I counted my scanty store, I bargained with life for a penny, only to learn dismayed that any amount I'd asked of life would have willingly paid. I ad-libbed, but that's the general gist. It's like, are we programming our guides and our help from the universe? Are we programming the universe to only give us things through suffering? Because that's the only way that we'll know that we appreciate it. And so I want you to just look inside yourself and ask, what are the things that have come to you easily that you're not appreciating? And I want you to just take a few moments out to try to appreciate those things, to try to turn your attention and your gratitude, because gratitude and suffering, you don't need suffering for gratitude. Like for me, the grapes are going to taste the same whether I walk 5 miles for them, whether I crawl through glass for them. Well, I wouldn't crawl through glass for grapes. I just had, listen, I just had to do without. But nonetheless, the lighting is horrible. I need to end this video soon. Don't look at me. But listen, so I wanted to ask, because, and then another thing that crossed my mind before I made this video, men, you know, we have a lot of men, and this is why some men, if you have sex with them on the first night, they don't value you. Well, that is not what I wanted to say. Rewind that. Okay. You have sex with some men on the first night and they don't appreciate it. And it's not that they don't appreciate you. What they're really saying is it's not that they don't value you. What they're really saying is that they don't value themselves, because not only is it a conundrum, I can't think of the word, ironic or whatever, because if you have intercourse with someone on the first night and they have intercourse with you on that night as well, there are two people involved in that scenario. So both people are having intercourse on the first night. But to this person, the value of the intercourse decreases to certain people. Now, not all men are like this, right? But the value of the intercourse decreases to them because you had intercourse with them on the first night. What they're really saying is that they don't feel that there's anything special about them. Because listen, I've been there. I've met men who were just the the connection was intoxicating, and it was ripe and pungent and overpowering like a bolt of electricity. And there was something really special about them, and I wanted to conjoin. I wanted to copulate with them very first night, because the pull, the energy was that strong, and the connection was that unique and that powerful. But when they turned away from that, or turned away from me as a result, I realized that it's not because there's something wrong or lesser with me. It's because they feel that there's something wrong or lesser about them, that me taking their penis makes me dirty. What does that say about a person? If you take their genitalia and you taking their genitalia makes you dirty, what does that say about their genitalia? Or if you taking their genitalia makes you worthless, what does that say about their genitalia? And what does that say about what they think about their genitalia? It's like, remember how I was saying I know my worth and I know my value. So when I go out there, turn this way. So when I go out there and I walk 3-4 miles for some grapes, I know that the taste of the grapes are going to be the same whether I got them up the block. Does walking 3 miles take the dirt off the grapes? Does it take that film? And if you want to get that film off, use vinegar, soak them in water. But nonetheless, does walking take the film off? No, it's like, it's the same grape. And it's like, all of this is a part of our mental process about what it is that we feel that we deserve and how we feel that we deserve it. And in my life, I attract abundance, and I attract good and great things to me without the suffering. And I program this into my life because I program my guides and I program the universe to answer my call without me having to be down on bloody knees and teary face. I don't need all of that drama. I don't need all of that. It's like, and you know what? Listen, let's do this for the new year, because I'm going to get off of this video before it's too long. Let's do this for the new year. Let's look at all of the things that we've overlooked because they've come to us too easily. Let's turn our attention to it and realize that this came to me because I attracted it, because I am a powerful manifester, because I deserve it, because I was not made to suffer. Oh, whew, hear me. I wasn't made, listen, I was not made to suffer. I wasn't made to be in grief for the things that I want and the things that I need. I was made for these things to come to me easily and abundantly. Hear me. Hear me. Oh. So if there's anything that you do to start this new year, please start this new year with gratitude for the things that are, all too often. Someone posted that as human beings, we are naturally predisposed to negativity. And I really I didn't want to believe that, but when I started looking at the way things are, I realized that it's true. We are predisposed to, it's like if you think about the times that people call customer service and they want to speak to a manager to complain, the amount of times that you would write a letter or feel impassioned to complain. When was the last time that you felt so impassioned to write some words of love or some words of encouragement or some words of really appreciating a thing? When did you, it's like if you have a good agent on the phone, you're like, oh, you were a great agent, thank you, bye-bye. But if you have a bad agent on the phone, you're like, let me talk to your manager, this, that, and the other. But when was the last, I do this often because I'm like, let me speak to your manager with words of praise. With words of praise. So think about, what can you do in your life? What can you turn your attention to? What can you give words of praise to that came to you easily from your abundance, from love, because you deserve it easy? Because if you don't feel that you deserve it easy, what is the alternative? You program the universe to make it hard. So listen, TonyaTko, and I am out. Look, I love you very, very much. In this new year, let's make it gratitudinolious. I can't think of a word. Let's have an abundance of gratitude this year. Hug me. I love you so much. I know it's dark out here. So let me get back inside. Can you even see me? Let's see if I can get some light on me. We got people revving their engines in the background. But listen, I love you all very, very much. Go out there and love one another. And most importantly, what? Love yourself. Make sure you subscribe to my mailing list on TonyaTko.com and follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all of these different places. You never know where I may be inspired to put up a message. Most importantly, get on my mailing list. I'm getting ready to take a gigantic trip for a few months, so make sure you're on my mailing list so that you can stay in touch with me that way. I haven't told anyone yet, so shh, you're the first to know. So listen, I will talk with you all later. Fire trucks and all of this, gosh, I hope everyone is all right. Goodness, so much going on. Listen, appreciate, oh, the truck is passing by. Appreciate your stuff before tragedy. You know, it's like when tragedy happens, we're like, oh, I didn't know to appreciate this. But like these people with the fire going on, it's like you don't really appreciate your home until you lose it. Turn around and give thanks to the roof over your head, the shoes on your feet. Like Jay-Z, oh gosh, I really wanted to get out of here. I was talking about Jay-Z last night because Jay-Z was talking about how he had, I saw this documentary with Jay-Z in it. And he was talking about, because he was building some wells out in the motherland, in poor parts of the motherland. And he was like, he grew up so angry about growing up in Marcy Project. He had so much anger inside. Remember, cough up along where I'm from, Marcy, y'all, ain't nothing nice. No, Marcy, son. Wait, cough up along where I'm from, Marcy, son, ain't nothing nice. All right. So he grew up in Marcy Projects, and he was so angry because he thought that he was poor. He went over to a certain part of Africa, and he said that he saw a little boy walk out of his house with a cup. Did he even have a cup? I don't remember the documentary. You tell me. And there was some muddy water in the middle of the street. And the boy either put his face down there to drink it or scooped it up in a cup and began to drink it. And he was like, he didn't realize what poverty really was until he saw people who had much, much less. Well, financial poverty, because you find that people who have the less monetarily seem to be the happiest. But he was saying that he didn't really understand. It was like he grew up in buildings with running water and inside plumbing and toilets you can flush and drinking water that was clean that you could drink. And he was like, he didn't realize, I mean, he was like, he grew up all this time thinking that he was poor. He didn't know what poverty was. And he said he gained a new love and perspective. And it's like, okay, so what is it that we have that we are, I mean, listen, in America, we get free education with lunches in the school. May not be the best lunches, you know, but we get education that's paid for, you know, tax dollars, whatever, but you have the chance to be able to go and get educated for free. You know, you could turn on the faucet and have clean drinking water. You know, you have buildings over your head and stuff on your feet and clothes on your back. And it's like, you know, our parents weren't perfect. Our upbringing wasn't perfect, but how we're predisposed for negativity, we concentrate on what is not. 2015, concentrate on what is. Last year we did the gratitude bank. Let's do the gratitude heart. Find a way each and every day when you wake up. I know that this has become a really bad habit for me. When I wake up first thing in the morning, you know, I pick up my phone and start checking messages. I would really love it if we could find a way when we wake up in the morning, before we jump on social media, before we pick up our phones, and before we do all of this, that we take a few moments to just go inside of our hearts. Because it's like, you know, you go on social media and the next thing you know, you're starting to become infected by other people's point of view and other people's attitudes and other people's this and other people's energies coming into your home first thing in the morning. What can you do? What can you do? Where can you start your ritual? First thing in the morning or before you go to bed, where you go inside your heart and you give thanks. Create the gratitude bank in your heart. Give thanks for the things that you had during that day. Turn your attention to all of the things that you got easily. Oh goodness, I talked longer than I wanted to. Another hug is in order. Hug me. Like me. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Go out there and love one another. Most importantly, love yourself. And gratitude bank in your heart. TonyaTko, and I'm out. Peace. And that's Tonya with an O, Tony. Peace.